up. TheVegasLawyers.com. Lawyer up.
Good afternoon, Tony Abbatangelo, live at the Red Chimp Studio, Studio B. You may be asking yourself, why am I wearing a patch? Not only am I a pirate, selling the 7 Cs, well, actually, I'm live in Las Vegas. So I had retina surgery. My retina became detached from my eye. So I can't see anything out of this eye. So if I go like this, I can't see crap. All I can see is a bright white. So I got a sidekick, because my staff and my people I work with are so thrilled, besides getting the R and file this motion or you have to walk the plank, they got me a parrot. I got Polly. He's got kind of a rough mouth, a little bad language. We're working on training Polly. So anyway, first thing I want...
Hey, baby, show us your tits.
Don't. You can't be saying stuff like that, Polly. Anyway, the first thing I was going to talk about is prostitution. And so Polly just let us into that. What's been going on out here in Vegas, which has also been having a bunch of things happen around the country, are the massage parlor stings. Now here at the office, we know a few people on the force, on the Metropolitan Police Department, and they've been making these raids. They actually busted somebody, they had $1 million. Now we don't know if that's cash on site or if they seized their bank accounts. So under Nevada Revised Statute 201.295, a prostitute means a male or female person who for a fee engages in sexual intercourse, oral genital contact, or any touching of the sexual organs or other intimate parts of a person for the purpose of arousing or gratifying the sexual desire of either person.
Oh, baby, talk dirty to me more.
What do you think of that, Polly? What do you think?
What? Polly wants the blowjob. Feels good.
That's what happens in those massage parlors, supposedly. Can't be doing that. Some people say those women are pigs. But you know what? What the hell? Oh. There you go. Can't have pigs in there, I guess. But anyway, it's a misdemeanor. Even if you're in there like old Bob Kraft. So the 201.354 under the Nevada Revised Statutes is it's a misdemeanor. Now, it's not a misdemeanor for a person who violates by subsection 1 by soliciting a child for prostitution. First offense is a category E felony. Then a second offense for soliciting a minor is a D felony, and a third time is a C felony. So don't go out there soliciting prostitutes. It's a bad idea. Don't be doing that, okay? Another very important hot topic, fresh off the press, Nevada Supreme Court just came up with a new case law. Case under Anderson v. 8th Judicial District Court, State of Nevada, in and for the County of Clark and the City of Las Vegas. Now, some people say the Supreme Court moves slow, like turtles. What the hell? I can't even see it. Shit. Anyway. Case just came out literally yesterday, September 12th, right here. Big headline news. I got to get away from Polly.
Like that?
Well, now that's what some people are saying, especially the prosecutors and the muni courts are saying, because guess what? Now you got to have a jury, because it used to be under Nevada case law that you did not have a requirement for a jury trial on domestic violence cases. In Nevada, you're not allowed to have a jury trial on any misdemeanor. So what happened was, a case called AMEZCUA went to the Nevada Supreme Court a few years ago. And what the Nevada Supreme Court said was, and actually I took the wrong page, it says that because losing your gun rights, which is a Second Amendment, a substantial right, a substantive right, and a constitutional right, is that you are now facing a federal regulation, not a state law. So therefore, you're not losing your gun rights because of a Nevada law. But guess what the legislature did? They went out and they passed a Nevada revised statute 200.4851A, and specifically it says in the decision by the Nevada Supreme Court that a statute that Nevada revised statute 202.360, a statute that prohibits the possession or control of firearms by certain persons was amended, quote, has been convicted in this state or any other state of a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence as defined in 18 U.S.C. section 921, subsection A, subsection 33. So in our opinion, this new penalty, a prohibition on the right to bear arms as guaranteed by both the United States and Nevada constitutions, clearly reflects a legislative determination that the offense of misdemeanor domestic violence is a serious one, and therefore overturning a Nevada case that actually went all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States in 1989. It was called Blanton versus North Las Vegas. Blanton versus North Las Vegas stated, misdemeanors are petty offenses. Maximum punishment is 6 months in jail, $1,000 fine, community service, blah, blah, blah. So, you do not have the right to have a jury trial. Some states do permit jury trials. California, for example, I have friends in California that practice law. Oh, excuse me, phone's ringing. We're busy right now.
Who's the pretty Polly? Not you, Lord.
Don't they know we're filming? Polly's pissed. So anyway, what happens is you're not entitled to a jury trial. But because the Nevada Constitution and Nevada legislature passed the law, domestic violence cases now have the right to have a jury trial. Now, practically speaking, I've talked to my friends in the court system.
Hey, you! Don't fuck yourself!
Hey, Polly, you can't be saying stuff. Your Honor, strike that from the record. Cannot have that. Nobody loves me. I'm sensitive, Polly. You can't be saying these things about me. I only got one eye. What the hell? Ow! What the hell? Anyway, this is turning rough, this Facebook Live stuff. So anyway, more importantly, now what? I'm not scratching your ass. I'm turning you off. What is wrong with you, you son of a... Jesus. Yeah, hit him next time. So anyway, I completely... Where are we at? Where are we going? Domestic violence? Bird violence? You can't do anything with this guy. So more importantly, practically speaking, in Las Vegas Justice Court, they put 2 departments in charge of domestic violence cases. Each one of those have usually a minimum of 10 trials scheduled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So guess what? Where are you going to put all these jurors? What are you going to go forward? What are you going to do? Practically speaking, this is a nightmare for all these courts now. Now also...
Oh, Tony, we got a question.
Yes.
How can beating somebody up be a, quote, non-serious offense? Shouldn't domestic violence just be a felony, assault?
Well, that's a good question, but here's the answer. The first offense is a misdemeanor. Because what happens if somebody pushes another person and they're dating or they're married?
Or they're roommates.
Well, or technically roommates. Does that deserve a felony? You know, you push somebody, there's no physical injury, nobody's hurt. Technically, that's a battery domestic violence. I don't think that deserves to be a felony. So what happens is, first offense is a misdemeanor. A second offense within 7 years in Nevada is still a misdemeanor, but it has a higher minimum punishment. 3 domestic violence convictions within a 7-year period results in mandatory 1 year in prison. Now also, if you beat somebody up and you hurt them, substantial bodily harm, even if it is a first offense, you jump right into the wonderful world of felonies. And then eventually you do get a jury trial.
Oh, so you can have domestic violence with no injury.
Correct, and that happens all day long. There's tons of people that get arrested, they have a little red mark on their face. Does that deserve a felony? My opinion is no. I'm not approving of touching another person. That's not appropriate. I'm not agreeing with that. That's why if you get convicted of a domestic violence first offense, 6 months of domestic violence counseling is minimum. 1.5 hours per week for 6 months, but not more than 12 months. An alcohol evaluation. Minimum fine is $345, 48 hours of community service. That's the minimum sentence, and a maximum of 6 months in jail. So to answer the question also about the petty offense, a petty offense is a misdemeanor. So once again, as we were talking about earlier, soliciting prostitution, misdemeanor. However, soliciting a minor, felony. So there's different distinguishing factors that are within the law. So what happens now also is when you have a jury trial, you're at the Regional Justice Center, which is downtown, the big tall pink building with little arch on it. There's jury services. Currently, the Henderson Justice Court and Henderson Municipal Court, both housed on Water Street. North Las Vegas Municipal Court off of Cary, that's North Las Vegas Justice Court, and North Las Vegas Community Court off of Las Vegas Boulevard. They do not have jury services. Where are they going to get their jurors from? Right now, all these courts are scrambling to comply with this new law. But the law doesn't worry about the practicalities. They worry about what is right and what is justice. Once again, justice is blind. But me as a good defense attorney, I'm only blind in one eye, so I like to peek, make sure I do the best for my clients. That's a whole nother story. All right. Next topic we got.
Oh, no, wait. I got a question about the gun thing.
Yeah.
Does that mean if I'm in a different state, I can claim a jury trial because it takes away my rights if I ever go to Nevada?
No. Well, the crime where it occurs, so if you commit a misdemeanor, battery, domestic violence, or charged with one, I should say, in California, by their laws, you're entitled to a jury trial. If you commit that battery, domestic violence here, or charged with that, I should say, you do get one. But as of 2 days ago, no jury trial. The alternative was a bench trial, meaning you present the case to the judge. The judge sitting at the bench makes a determination of guilt or innocence. So that's what happens.
As a defense attorney, do you want domestic violence going in front of a jury, or do juries not look so good on domestic violence stuff?
Well, the way I'm looking at it is my fee just doubled, baby. Yeah, I got to prepare for a jury trial. I got to be down there all day. But it depends. I mean, because here's the thing. It depends on who your judge is. A conservative judge isn't going to buy the nonsense. Now, when I was a justice of the peace, and I had a case with no physical injuries apparent, there was pictures taken, police officers wrote, I could not see any visible injuries. They did not complain of any visible injuries, and both people are drunk. At the scene of the crime, both people are drunk. Defendant says, I didn't touch her or him. Victim says, that drunken fool hit me. And they're drunk. And they cart the defendant off, and off to jail he goes. And next thing you know, we're having a bench trial when I was a judge. Now we get victim under oath. And the victim under oath is sober. And there's no corroborating evidence, meaning nobody else saw this event. So there's no independent witnesses or third witness. It's victim and defendant. You also don't have any corroborating evidence in a physical showing of an injury. For example, if victim says defendant slapped me and there's a red mark across the person's cheek, that's corroborating evidence. But when there's no evidence and you got a sober person under oath, subject to cross-examination and no corroboration, I'd find that person not guilty. I would also say, look, morally, we know what's going on here. Something happened that night, but legally, we just can't prove it, Mason. So, I mean, that would be my point of view. Believe me, I've been in front of judges where they say, we don't care that you were drunk and not under oath. You're telling the truth then, and that's what a lot of victim advocates state. The victim advocates will say, they're telling the truth. And therefore, now they're back, they made up with their boyfriend or girlfriend, and now they don't want the person to get in trouble, and it's a cycle of domestic violence. And in some cases, absolutely, I agree, that is 100% true. But I don't know what a jury's gonna do. They might read through it and say, hey, this is a bunch of crap. They're telling the truth when they were all liquored up and that way. Or two, they might say, look, guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You've got to prove this case guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, and they might make a decision like I said when I was a JP. Hey, something happened. You just, Mr. Prosecutor or Miss Prosecutor, cannot prove it. And that's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. It's going to be interesting.
Do you have to get a jury trial, or can you still ask for a bench?
You have to. My understanding is you're going to have to. Well, actually, criminal cases, you don't have to demand it. It's automatic. Civil cases, you have to make a demand for a jury trial, and there's a bond fee, and there's all kinds of fees, and money's got to be paid. And civil cases, you make that request. Criminal cases, it's automatic. So this is going to be quite interesting, to say the least. Anyway, let's keep moving on. Last night, the Democratic debates. They had the whole crew of them. They're a herd, bunch of cows. Moo, what the hell? Oh, moo! What the hell's going on here? There you go, take your moo back. All right, but more important, I like steak. But they're all like a bunch of cows walking up to that podium, sitting there, and I got some of my fun stuff here, some of my quotes and this goofy stuff. The big highlight that I've been seeing, catching a lot of flack, Julian, but my Hispanic friend, how do I say Julian correctly? Julian. Castro. Is that good?
Sure.
Close enough. Julian Castro, with his slick back hair. He blasted Biden. He's over there, Biden. Hey, don't you remember what you said? Don't you remember what you said 2 minutes ago? Insinuating that Biden's old, doesn't remember what he's saying. So crowds like, ooh, ah, ooh. And then after the debate, what's old Castro doing? Since I can't say his first name correctly, I'm going to call him Castro. He's backing off already. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. Well, bullshit. We all know what you meant. You were blasting the old guy, going after him, and you look like a fool. But speaking of the old guy, I should turn Polly back on. What about Biden when he was going on his ramble about education, and his deceased wife was a teacher, they need to get paid, $60,000 or out of the $60,000 range, and he's going on, and then he starts stumbling, and he says, we need to have the record player on. The record player? I haven't owned a fucking record player in 20 years. I mean, what about a CD player? How about streaming live like we're doing? I mean, what generation is Biden in? I mean, this guy, I like old Joe because he's kind of crazy. And back in the day, he used to be in charge of the Judiciary Committee. And, we need more, in my opinion, moderate to liberal type judges. But old Biden, I don't know. I thought he was losing his mind when he's talking about a record player. And then Beta will work, or Beto. Libido. Hey, anyway, Beto will work. We're going to take your R-15 and AK-47 weapons away. And hell yeah. Now, what I like about her work is he took a stand. He made a point. Whether you agree with him or not, he's sticking to his position. Now, I think he made a good point. These automatic weapons, they're weapons of war, is what he said. Or battlefield weapons, is what he said. Now, you got to look back when the Second Amendment was written, is what we do. Founding fathers, you've heard that argument. What did the founding fathers want? They wanted everybody to own guns because the British were housing their troops in colonist homes and running around and just being the dominant force. Well, guess how they had weapons back then? They had a musket. So if I had a gun and I'm going to sit there, I'm going to shoot you, I go poof, and I shoot. I put my gun down. I pull out my powder. I put it in. I put the ball in. Then I got to do whatever you do, and you fire again. You weren't firing in that same amount of time 100 shots at somebody. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think people should go running around with AK-47s, okay? That's just my opinion. Like I said, I don't know. I'm just moderate to liberal. I do have my own opinions. For example, I do think everybody should actually have to carry a gun. And that way, when you walk in to the 7-Eleven to rip them off, guess what? You know everybody's packing, and you're not going to pull stupid shit. So that's why everybody should be carrying a gun, and you should have a permit not to carry. But that's just me again. That's just me again. You like that thought, Mason?
Permit not to carry.
That's right. Then our old friend Kamala Harris, talking about Trump and all his statements. She said, obviously he, being Trump, did not pull the trigger, but he certainly has been tweeting out the ammunition, and this was in reference to the mass shootings. I kind of agree with her. I'm not a huge Kamala Harris fan. I'm not anti-Kamala Harris. But let me tell you something. When you get people saying things like, all the Mexicans are bad hombres, and you get a person saying, go back home, and, go fix your problems back home in your crime-ridden homes or countries. Well, what are you doing? You're flaming the fire on a bunch of knuckleheads that are going to start doing stupid things. So, you know what? She made a good point with that. But the highlight of the whole debate for me was my man, Yang. The Yangaroonie. He's going to give $1,000 a month freedom dividend for 1 year to 10 different people. You know what that is? You know what that's called, people? Buying votes. That's what that's called. So, good old school politics. Chicago, did you vote once? Vote twice. Didn't vote twice? Vote 3 times. Make sure you get out there and vote. So the youngster I thought that was the greatest thing I ever heard. He just straight up said he's buying votes. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, now, final topic. Final topic's vaping. Vaping's in the news every day. All these people vaping, these young kids vaping, and they're talking about how they're getting health problems. They're getting problems with their lungs. They're going somewhere in hospital. A few people even died. Well, I was watching this one news story, and in this one news story, they had all the different flavors for vaping products. And one of them was even blueberry cobbler pie flavor. I mean, come on. You know who that's directed to. It's directed to kids. Of course it is. It's directed to anybody that has a sweet tooth, or even a person, young adult.
Say what you will, heroin only comes in one flavor.
That's right, baby. Only one flavor. The doctor of death. But anyway, that's another story. But let me tell you something. When I heard about the blueberry cobbler, it made me think about me and a couple buddies going out with our old bartender friend, Ron. Ron was a bartender in this dive bar in Pecos in Washington in the 90s. So we go rolling in there, and it's like a biker bar, it turns out. So the Hessians were there. That's how old this place was. The Hessians were an old-time Vegas motorcycle club / gang, and we're drinking, and it reminded me also of my high school days. Why do you think there's peppermint schnapps? There's peppermint schnapps because it's easy to go down. Captain Morgan's spice rum. What is that? It's got a sweeter taste. But that night, we were drinking butterscotch schnapps. That stuff was amazing, Mason. Oh, it was so dangerous. I had like 10 shots. It was brutal. I felt so bad the next day. But you couldn't stop drinking it. Because you know why? It tasted so good. It was wonderful. Just kept drinking it. Next thing you know, and that was before Uber. So we did a few things we shouldn't have done. You know what I mean? Anyway, so vaping, bad. My wife, she's a dentist. She sees the effects it has on teeth. She's been telling her stepkids, which would be my kids, don't vape. Because it gets you what's called popcorn lungs. And the studies aren't out there yet, but they're coming. And you've seen all the stuff on the news. Vaping's legal, and they need to curtail it. And let me tell you something. It's causing problems. Because just like smoking cigarettes. Do you ever see anybody go in a fire? And they said, yeah, I died from smoke inhalation. Well, yeah, what the fuck do you think you're doing with a cigarette and vaping? You're putting smoke in you. And believe me, as a child of 2 chain-smoking nice Italian people, and my friend Becca over here, it's okay to smoke. My parents were chain smokers, baby. My dad, Lucky Strike, no filters. Mom, Marlboro. I'd be in the backseat of like Cheech and Chong, but with regular cigarettes. I'd be sitting there coughing, and my parents, being the good Italians, say, hey, throw me a smoke. Hey, Johnny! I'd be sitting back there, I was doing everything but having a smoke. You know, they're talking about having a smoke. My parents would say, stop coughing, knock it off. I'm like, so you know what I did was I broke the habit. Anyway, Tony Abbatangelo, Vegas Lawyers, Red Chip Studios, love you people. Polly, let's sign out here real quick. What do you got to say for yourself, Polly?
Who's the fucker then?
Wow, what the hell? I only got one good eye.
Lawyer up. TheVegasLawyers.com. Lawyer up.